Howdy folks, AJ coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer, and today's video is going to be an update about the World of Warcraft experiment that I've been working on. I had talked about it in one of my previous videos that I had gone to I went to a brand new server that I'd never been to before, and I went ahead and decided I was going to make enough characters, enough level 1 characters, starting characters, that I could cover all of the professions. And what I would do is I would take each one to level 10, one at a time to level 10, and then move on to the next one to level 10 until I got them all to level 10. And then the idea was that having all the professions at that point, I would start to, before I picked the next character that was going to go to level 20, I would use all the other characters, all the professions, to make all the gear that this next character that's set to go to 20, all the gear that they would use. And the idea was that that would force me to level the professions for all these characters as I leveled them. And then once I got one of them to level 20, I would do the same with the rest of them, get them all to level 20, make all the gear for all of them, and so forth and so on. And then I would, once I got them all to 20, start over and get them all to 30. And do 10 levels at a time, and see if, number one, that would accomplish keeping all the professions leveling simultaneously while the character adventure levels were being leveled, and number two, to see if it would break up the monotony of leveling all the way to 90 by breaking up by playing different classes. And so here's the status of my experiment. Number one, I made a couple of errors. I forgot to check the data centers for the different servers to find out which would be the best server for me latency-wise, basically distance from me. So because I live in Utah, the actual geographically best place for me, the data center for me, would be Phoenix. That would be the closest. And I didn't pay attention, and I picked one that's in the data centers in Chicago. So my latency is higher than it would have been had I picked a Phoenix one. So it's not a big deal, but if I was to do it all over and be smart, I should have picked that, because the latency for, I did just as an experiment, I just started one on Drakthul, which is, I don't know, I'm sorry, not Drakthul, Blood Scalp, I think it is, that is a Phoenix server, and my latency was like 44. So that's a lot better than 80 that I'm getting on the other server. So that was my number one mistake. My number two mistake was that I did not make the very first character that I was going to be leveling. I didn't make them both my miner and skinner to start gathering materials. And I should have made, and primarily if you're going to try to do the same thing I did, I would, if I was going to do it all over again, I would make the very first one that I'm going to level, and then level, you know, each tier from then on. The very first character I would start with would be a druid, and I would make them leather, or not leather, skinner and miner to gather leather and ore. So, but I didn't do that. And the reason I would say pick a druid is because you get all the different speed bonuses. For, you get travel form at some point. You get and then later on, of course, you get your own flight form, which is an instant cast, as opposed to if you're going to be jumping on and off of a mount, which has a cast time. So, in hindsight, I would have made the very first character in the series druid with skinning and mining. So, anyway, that's a couple things that I did not do. But regardless, it has become quite apparent to me that the design that Blizzard made for this game, for the professions, it was never designed to allow you to keep up with your character, with making gear for your character. And the reason I say that is, by the time that you are able to skin enough, let's say take for instance a leather worker, by the time you're able to skin enough stuff, enough leather to make the gear that you need, you've already out-leveled it. If provided that you are doing quests along the way, you're doing quests as you're doing. Now if you just go out and all you do is skin and mine and all those things, then yeah, maybe so. But then you're not experiencing any of the content. So it became apparent to me that you're going to, no matter what you do, one of the characters that whoever you're using gets your materials is going to outlevel any gear that you can make them. So that's just a given. So I have, at this point, I actually have, I got them all to 10, but the problem was that one of them was a worgen, and as you know, if you start a worgen, you don't get out of the phased entry tutorial entry-level quest area and all that. You don't get out of that until you're about level 13. So I actually had all the other ones at level 10, but I had level 13 on my my worgen. So and then I wanted to make gear, so I figured he was level 13, he'd be the first one I would take to 20. So my leather worker, of course, needed the leather to make him gear, but the problem was, in order to get that leather, I had to go out and do a bunch of skinning, and that took my leather worker skinner to level 15. So now my whole system's all screwed up. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to try and get them all to level 20, and then I'm going to see if at that point I have got all the professions leveled high enough to where I can gear everybody up at level 20 and keep my professions same par level with the adventuring level, and and then take everybody to 30 and see if it works that way. Because the end result that I'm looking for is if I can hold out long enough and not get bored and not get excuse me, and not get burned out, would be to get everybody to level 90 and have all of the professions maxed out. That would be to succeed at this experiment, would be to have all of them at level 90 with all the max professions. So we'll see how that goes, but I don't have high hopes at this point. It's already getting all screwed up and everything, but I am trying. So, and I even went out and bought myself a nice new Razor Naga. As many MMOs as I play, I've never had a Naga, and my immediate review is that this mouse is huge. So unless you have large hands, this is going to be a little awkward, and it's taking me some getting used to, because the other mouse that I was using was considerably smaller, fit better in the hand and everything. So I can't really give a full review on it yet, but at this point it's just clumsy for me to get used to. So anyway, that's it for this video. I will do an update when I get them all to level 20, and we'll see how I'm progressing there with this experiment. So until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the flip side.